be recorded.
Here we go again for the Public Works Protection Committee, November 1, 2022, roll call.
Gary Paul,
Here.
Noah Newcliff,
Here.
Kelly Service,
Here.
John Burnett,
Here.
and Jake Krieger's excused.
Pledge of Allegiance.
I stand. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Action item, I need a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Move to approve. Second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 5, action on minutes from September 6, 2022. Any changes or corrections? If not, I need a motion.
Motion to accept. Second.
First and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item 6, comment from the public. Must be limited to the items not on the agenda. Must state your name and address. Limited to 5 minutes. Board role is to listen and not discuss the item. Personal issues cannot be discussed, nor individuals named. Board is not able to take action at this meeting. Any public, fellas on the, you're on the agenda. Okay, we're nobody on the screen there. Okay, moving on. Action items. Action item A, action on Class B beer liquor request for Bird BJS LLC, doing business as Dodgeball/Green Bay. Chris, you are the lady.
So Dodgeball Green Bay is requesting approval of a Class B beer license for 2740 Packerland Drive, Suite F. They have all their paperwork in and all the fees paid, and they are in attendance if you have any questions.
Okay. Any questions? If you go through your pamphlet, you'll see where it is located on Packerland Drive, and I'm sure you're quite familiar with the building, with the representation of stuff in the front.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
On page 12, question 2 is checked no, and yet there's a note on it that said that's false. Can somebody explain that to me?
Chris?
It's the conviction.
Have you been convicted of any offenses? That's for Scott? That's from Scott. So on number 2, you answered, have you ever been convicted of any offenses other than traffic unrelated to alcohol?
Can you give her a
beverages?
mic, please? Oh, or isn't it working?
Excuse me?
Can you hear me?
No.
There we go.
Thank you.
So you are, it says, have you ever been convicted of any offenses other than traffic unrelated to alcohol beverages for violation of any federal laws, any Wisconsin laws, any laws of any other states or ordinances of any county or municipality? And you said no, and you put false, unless the chief did that, but he did approve you.
I might have checked on accident. I mean, I went on CCAP, I had stuff maybe over 10 years ago, and I was in my approved 20s or...
You should really come up to the table and go up to the
Let's
table.
open the floor so you can come up and let us know what's going on. Come on. Motion to open the floor, second. All right, there you go. Floor is yours. Explain your situation.
I may have mischecked the box on accident, I'm not sure. I haven't had anything in the last probably 13 years. I haven't gotten any tickets or traffic violations or anything. So when I CCAP myself, that's why I put no.
Okay, so Chris, you sit, go on, I'm going to give you the floor now.
We do have the background check on him, and the chief approved it.
It is approved.
Yep.
Okay. Did you rate the false on there?
I may have on accident, I may have misread it.
How far back does the chief go? Certain things will always be on there, I know, but is that a fair question? Did he find something?
Generally speaking, they'll go back 10 years. Now, whether or not it's alcohol-related or specific license-related activity, generally speaking, there's a 5-year threshold that will provide the recommendation from chief either to approve or deny the application. So there may have been something on his record that dates back beyond 5 and 10 years, as indicated by Scott, but those don't have an impact on whether or not the license can be approved.
Okay, all right, so, but the chief did approve the application.
Yes.
Okay, I guess we're clear on that then.
I have a couple questions. Do we have a Class B beer license available?
We do. Class B beer, there's no quota on that. It's just on the liquor portion. And then on the Class A liquor, also, the municipality has a quota, but not the beer for B.
And then for the gentleman sitting here, can you tell us a little bit about your plans for the business?
Okay, sorry. We're just trying to start a dodgeball club. Right now, it's once a week, and we plan on maybe doing it maybe 2 to 3 times a week during the week as of right now.
So where are you operating right now?
We're in that same building. We're not selling any alcohol at the moment.
Like,
So we're operating out of the same facility. We renovated it, had the inspector come through. We have just about everything kosher with that, and we're just trying to move forward with our beer sales.
is it a team event? So you
Yeah.
need to come with a team, or can individuals just come and play?
Right now, it's by reservation, so you have to have a team, so it's not really open to the public. It's kind of a club per se, so if you want to play it, there's no really turning down, but we make sure that everybody's on a team so we don't have, because we have an occupancy of 49 people as well, so we can't really just say, yeah, just show up, because we can't have that many people in the facility.
I believe in the packet here, you had a description of, I'm trying to fumble through it, of the layout of the building. You do have a bar set up in there for that.
Yeah, that was our, kind of our man cave bar when we just started, like, just us guys hanging out as friends,
Oh, here.
us 3.
Okay, I see it now. All right. You have any other businesses within the village, you fellas?
Yeah, we were on Spout also.
What?
Josh Delforge, 334 East Mission Road. We also own Ice Clouds, and we operate in the
Oh,
village, the food truck,
Okay, you're up on Cormier?
and Alloway is where I reside.
No, but the ice,
Oh, Ice Clouds, business, yes, it's on the same, in Packer Lane Drive, yeah,
okay,
same building.
okay. Any other questions? You know the liquor license is for that building and that address only.
Correct.
Can't
Yeah.
move it anyplace else.
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, can I have a motion?
Move to approve?
Second?
Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carried. Good
Thank you,
luck,
guys.
guys. Keep her clean.
Thank you.
You have to go to village board though, too.
Yeah, that'll be in front of the village board on the, what are we having a village board, November?
So the next village board meeting will be November 22nd, where this item will be up.
Okay.
And just to add some clarification to Gary's comment with regards to the license. So as part of the application, there is a premise description that was included in your packet.
Right.
This being a multi-tenant building, this being Suite F. There is a location within the building where alcohol sales can occur. Anything outside of that premise area that's licensed, it would not be eligible. So if business were to expand or go into other suites or anything like that, then it would need to be changed on the premise description.
Okay, all right.
Not just specific to the address, but to the premise that's described in the application. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, fellas understand? Yes, sir. Well, okay, good luck. Okay, action item B. Consider, discuss, act on Village of Ashwaubenon ordinance number 011-3-22 on an ordinance creating no parking on Element Way. Mr. Legal.
The Public Safety Department is primarily requesting this no parking on Element Way ordinance. The reason for that is because of the congested traffic on, I believe it's the north-south segment, the west side of the street. On the map that was provided as part of the packet is primarily where the parking restrictions are. So the red if you see Element Way on Marvell and Element Way intersection, the red on the west side of the street up to the corner, and then the corner on the other side, on the opposite side of the street, is really what's at issue. Speaking with several department staff, that street is really narrow, especially when you have two lines of, I guess, the byway traffic going through Element Way. So when you have parking on both sides of the street and then the traffic going back and forth through there, it's really restrictive as to creating a fluid flow of traffic. In addition to that, it's restricting emergency vehicles, in particular on the corner. So that corner, with that 90-degree angle, how it appears on the map, is really difficult for, let's say, a fire truck, for example, to get through with the parking on the street. So that's why the request is where the lines are as drawn. So the lines in particular in the corner is the issue. The green lines drawn on the map is going to be allowing parking at all times. And then the yellow is where the request is to have just no parking for day of Packer games only.
No parking for Packer games only.
Correct.
Okay. Everybody understand what they're trying to achieve here? That street's due for reconstruction. Any idea, is that street going to remain the width that it is, or any changes in the width as it's being constructed?
Yeah, so when you look at your map, there's that north-southbound section of Element Way. That was fully reconstructed a couple of years ago, so that section will not be touched as part of the reconstruction. The east-west portion leg, that will be reconstructed. The plan is to have that completed this year as part of a development project, Element Building 4, which was approved tonight through Plan Commission. That section will be included. So the width of the roadway for the new section that has already been completed is approximately 33 feet back to back. A traditional standard road is 37 feet in the Village of Ashwaubenon back to back. The idea was to narrow the road to make a more pedestrian-friendly environment, slow traffic, so on and so forth. But therein lies some of the challenges with allowing for parking on both sides of the street for through traffic and those types of conditions. So that section, to answer your question, Gary, this year, that section will be completed, and it will be a slightly narrower by about 5 feet from the traditional typical section for a village local road.
Okay, now,
Also with that, just as you know, Gary, with being on Plan Commission, Element Building 4 will align with the east-west portion of Element Way. And as part of that site plan, they are planning to construct on-street angled parking on what would be the north side of the east-west leg of Element Way.
okay, does public safety understand the new parking there when that building is, they understand that that's not going to be a problem?
Correct, and that's one of the reasons I think as part of the proposal, there is a no parking restriction on that section of Element Way as proposed in your packet.
Okay. Any questions?
I move to adopt ordinance 011-3-22 prohibiting parking on Element Way.
Second.
A first and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Action item C, consider, discuss, act on 011-1-22, an ordinance repealing management market merchants. Mr. Legal, are you taking that? Which one of you is taking it?
I can
Your
talk
name's
about
on the paper.
it. I can talk about it. That's okay. So all these next items are kind of all merged into one, but we just have to separately discuss them. So the managed market, the intent behind this is to create transparency and consistency with the managed market and special events, and to really help the public for applying for a special event. So the purpose behind the repeal of the managed market ordinance is to create one uniform, I guess, event encapsulating both managed market and special events. So what village staff is recommending and what we decided to do over a lot of meetings and a lot of discussion on it was to remove or repeal managed market, the actual ordinance, but taking that same, the theory, the thought, and actually the language from that ordinance and just transferring that and combining that with special events. So even though the ordinance itself will be repealed, the special event, that policy will now incorporate managed markets. So instead of just calling it managed market or special event, we're just going to be calling it special events. So a perfect example would be Arch Street. So Arch Street technically is a managed market as it stands right now because it's one permit for all the vendors. That same concept will still be used going forward after this, but it's just going to be called a special event. And why the change is so we don't have it's just really to help staff and the applicant for coming in and explaining just one fluent process of here's the application, here's the policy, and the policy explains everything, all the details of parking, alcohol issues, any kind of fees, and any other kind of questions in just one consistent format, so to speak.
Okay, so this particular one, all we're doing is just repealing this particular managed market.
Right, and kind of blending into the next agenda item, the managed market, the concept, again, behind it is merged into special events.
Right.
So the idea behind managed market isn't going away, just the actual legal language in the ordinance is going away.
Okay, so if we move on through this, you're going to see what he's really talking about. You got a mic in your hand there, Joel, you got something? Oh, you're just looking cute with that.
Yep, exactly.
All right, I know the staff has done a lot of work on this. I was in a few of the short discussions with them, but they got a lot of time in this, and I think this is going to clear up a lot of questions that you're going to find out in a few minutes here. So no other questions. I'll entertain a motion here to eliminate this particular one.
I'll move to adopt 011-1-22, the ordinance repealing managed market urchins.
A second.
First and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, now we're going to get a little smarter on this one. On action D, consider discuss action on 011-2-22, ordinance repelling and recreational special events. Mr. Legal again.
So as stated in the previous item, the managed market language is actually in the new and created special events language. So not necessarily in particular as defined in the ordinance, but on the previous ordinance, excuse me, but on the special event defined section under subsection B is where you would see some of the language relating to managed market. So the repeal and recreating the special event ordinance is basically to allow the village to have the authority to regulate the policy, which is coming up on the next agenda item. So we can discuss that as well. But what this does is it get this ordinance, as stated, grants the village the authority behind the purpose and the definition to regulate the policy of the special event. So the actual regulation will come through the policy. However, this gives the village the opportunity to, maybe if there's an issue with the applicant or the special event host not running it up to par against policy, this allows the village to regulate that by using citations. There's also in the ordinance, certainly needed to be defined in the ordinance by when you merge the special event and managed market language. And this also obviously has the purpose behind that as well.
Everybody understand this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any questions? If not, I'll obtain a motion on this one.
I'll move to adopt ordinance 011-2-22, an ordinance repealing and recreating special events.
First,
Second.
got a second, all in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, now we're really going to get smart. Item E, consider and discuss action on Village of Ashwaubenon resolutions number R11-1-22, a resolution approving a special event policy. Mr. Legal again.
So the resolution, in addition to the whereas clauses on the actual resolution itself, discusses adopting the resolution policy. And the resolution policy is really where you see, I guess, so to speak, the meat of the regulation of the special events. It incorporates the managed market language into the policy itself. And the special event policy is really just kind of an overhaul of what the ordinance previously was. The previous ordinance had, we found a lot of inconsistencies and possible loopholes. In particular, when applicants would come and there'd be just confusion as to what would be a special event, if that person or applicant needed a special event permit and possibly issue on alcohol or license fees. One, to turn the application in, there was just a lot of, I guess what we would say is, well, inconsistencies. So the resolution that was adopted, or that's being proposed for adopted by, the policy is being proposed to be adopted by resolution, allows the village to regulate that by resolution. So the resolution can, well, I'll say this, if the policy needs to be changed, the staff can come back by resolution and ask just to adopt a new resolution changing the policy, rather than coming forward and requesting an amendment to the special event ordinance. This is a much more streamlined and efficient process, and regulating it or amending it by resolution itself. So the policy, as you see, is very thorough from what the village used to have in the ordinance itself. It discusses really everything from the application to the purpose and the definitions and alcohol and fees. We have the language on special event committees and going forward to the board, and there's language on ADA policies, Americans with Disabilities Act, or insurance itself. So really it's kind of where an applicant would come in, we give them the application, the permit, and the policy behind it. So really a lot of the questions can be answered by simply just giving a packet or this policy when they want to come in for a special event.
So when they come in, they're going to get this.
That is the intent, yes.
And let me tell you, I've been involved in picnics for the last 15 years. And there's always been discussions on what is good, what is not good, and this clarifies it right here. So I think it was a good move on our staff that created this. So any questions on it?
And if I could, I'll just add just a few details specific that I think the committee and ultimately the village board would be interested in, that are somewhat, I wouldn't say substantial, but significant changes from our existing policy as it relates to special events. So the first one, under permit procedure, currently an applicant has to submit their application for a special event within 30 days. And where we found some challenges with that is that some special events require notification to adjacent properties or individuals affected by street closures. That 30-day window really didn't provide sufficient time to provide notice to those individuals, nor adequate time for us to resolve issues related to street closures, detours, so on and so forth. So the provision within the policy now is that the period for applying for the application is between 60 and 90 days, given the nature of the event. So it's a significant increase. It's double, if not triple, the amount of notification time that we have to have for that event. Now, big events are planning their activities well in advance of 90 days. So we feel that it's sufficient for those individuals to provide their information at least within that time period in order for us to properly plan. An example, Cellcom Marathon. They're in the process of planning for next year's event already. So applying for that today or soon would not be a major hindrance for these large events. But if I'm thinking 30 days out that, hey, I would like to have a major run walk event through the community, and I'm going to schedule it for the end of November, that's just simply not enough notification period, and so those types of events would be declined.
So Joel, they will be denied if they come in, let's say 45 days or 30 days before the event?
Correct. There's just
All
not
right, the
adequate
only
time.
reason I'm bringing this up is because if, I'm thinking of church picnics, they don't think that far ahead, even though they know the date now, they don't know about this. I think, how are we going to notify the public of this?
Well, I think we can certainly go back and talk to prior organizers, so like a church picnic. Hey, if you have your date, simply apply for that special event so that there's sufficient time to provide
Okay.
notice. Now, that's not a major issue or a challenge for us, so we can
Okay.
do that.
All right, I just want to make
Yeah.
that known that could be an issue.
The other thing that I'll mention, and it ties to that notice period, is this idea of classes. So we have a Class A event and a Class B event. So the Class A event is a large event, generally going to require the closure of an arterial or collector roadway.
Okay.
It's going to involve alcohol. It's going to involve a significant number of people, 3,000 individuals or greater. And so in those types of events, based on feedback we've received from the village board over the past 12 months, those events would actually come before the village board under consent agenda for approval.
Well, it will come in front of the board.
Correct.
Okay.
So just be advised that that's an extra layer of approvals that's required. So if you recall, we had some complaints and some concerns regarding the Cellcom Marathon and some of the street closures and some of these other run-walk events. Those types of events would fall under that Class A designation and would require village board approval. Class B events would follow the traditional suit where the chief of public safety would ultimately approve based on feedback it receives from this internal staff committee in reviewing that application. So just those are really kind of the big substantial changes, is that the board will now have some oversight in approving those closures or those types of special events versus just staff. And that as a result of that additional layer of approvals, that time frame for when an application is needed to be received by us is increased in order to meet those timelines.
I understand that.
The other thing I'll mention too, just to kind of elaborate a little bit more on Patrick's comments, the managed markets and things of that nature have traditionally, we've always been challenged internally as to whether or not a managed market or like a non-park and rec and forestry department related food truck rally, are they special events or are they a managed market? Are they both? Oftentimes there's a muddy line between which one of those three categories this specific event may be. By basically repealing the managed market, modifying the mobile food truck ordinance that we did about a month ago, and then updating and amending or repealing and recreating our special event code, as well as adopting this policy, brings that all under one umbrella, which makes it much more easy for us to administer and explain to applicants that, oh, this is just simply a special event. Here's our policy, here's our packet, complete this information, and then we'll go from there. Versus, well, I don't know if it's a managed market, I don't know if it's a food truck license. It could be all of those things combined, so let's put it under a special event policy and manage it that way. And then from there, based on that application, we can determine which other licenses are required for that organizer or the participants of the event that meet the other requirements of code, whether it's alcohol licensing, food truck licensing, a tent permit, so on and so forth. So we can help assist that organizer of all the different licenses and permits that are necessary to hold that event successfully.
Very good. Everybody understands? I think it's a good ordinance here that we are making to make things clear, but I am concerned about notifying or somehow making the people that do have events in our village here notified that this is the new ordinance, and the time period is the 60 days is the one I'm concerned about, so what you can take care of. Okay, no other questions? I'll obtain a motion here for approval.
Move to adopt Resolution R11-1-22, resolution approving a special event policy.
Second.
Got a first and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Items for next agenda. Anybody have anything? Go see somebody at staff level and they will put it on here. No other items. I need a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Got a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much.